What's up, everybody? Mark here from Coffee&Toys, bringing you another Masters of the Universe New Eternia unboxing and review. And today I am super stoked about this figure. The second I saw it, I said, oh my gosh, they have essentially redeemed themselves with this figure based on the previous MasterVerse that was released. And yeah, I cannot wait to share with you the unboxing and review of this video. Of course, I am talking about everyone's favorite Faker, New Eternia. Let's talk about it. So yeah, I think we can all agree that the initial MasterVerse Faker, which was based on the Revelation animated series, left a lot to be desired. It wasn't bad. It was, it's a cool looking figure, but he wasn't blue skinned. He wasn't what we think of when we think of Faker. And wow, when they showed the pictures of this Faker, this new Eternia Faker, and knowing that the new Eternia lineup of figures have just been overall stellar, I couldn't wait to own this figure. And so once all my pre-orders started coming in from Big Bad Toy Store, this is the one I've been most excited about. And unfortunately, I haven't gotten around to actually opening it until now, this review. So I'm going to shut up. We're going to go over here and we're going to check this guy out in the box and see what it's all about. So here we go. We have Masters of the Universe, New Eternia Faker. And wow, this is a stunning figure just in the package. I love what I am seeing. Now, of course, this is the standard MasterVerse packaging. 30 points of articulation with the MasterVerse logo across the top. Masters of the Universe, New Eternia Faker down at the bottom. And wow, this is got a little bit of glare. I apologize. But wow, this figure just looks so great. This new face sculpt is amazing. I love the detail of the power sword and the axe. It just looks wonderful in the package. Of course, you got the extra hand accessories. And yeah, if we switch it to the side, we have a very cool picture of Faker with his glowing eyes and the gleam on the sword. And of course, we spin around the back. You have this wonderful artwork. Faker, evil robot of Skeletor. In his efforts to become the most powerful being in Eternia, Skeletor needed a vessel to harness the power of Grayskull. The evil lord combined mad science and dark magic to create Faker, a being strong enough to contain the energy of the universe and controllable enough to be wielded against enemies. And I think, honestly, that's one of the better bios I've ever read about Faker. That is a wonderful bio to explain why Skeletor created him. So, really cool to see this artwork, and of course in the back we have the, you can barely make it out, we do have Skeletor in the background. And of course you have the cross-cell at the bottom, Classic Merman, Grizzlor, and Buzz-Off, which we will be reviewing on this channel as well. And of course on the other side you have Faker, evil robot of Skeletor. So, give me a few minutes to get this guy unboxed and we'll come back and we'll see what the figure's all about. Okay, here we go. We have Faker out of the package, and this figure is awesome. Just straight out of the box, looks great, and I'm going to pull him in close. And obviously the first thing you're going to notice is the head sculpt. New He-Man / Faker head sculpt. White eyes, dark reddish orange hair. The hair is close to the face, swoops down behind his neck, and just ultimately looks wonderful. And I'm sure we're going to get this head again for He-Man. This is very reminiscent of a Masters of the Universe Classics face. I am digging it a lot. Moving down, though, we see that we has the Skeletor upper chest armor, and it's kind of in a purplish, almost fuchsia kind of color with some darker purple for the crossbones and a, pardon me, kind of an orangish gold and emerald or gem or something like that. And yeah, so of course on the back you can see where you can put in his power sword. And something I noticed right as I took him out of the package is he has completely new arms from the upper arm to the lower arm. Hands are the same, gauntlet wrist bracer is the same, but that is an extra cool feature to actually, see if I can get the focus a little better, on that arm with just those little mechanical divots. It looks wonderful. I don't know if there's any on the inside, but very cool. A feature they did not have to put on there, but they did, and I for one appreciate it. Excuse me. Of course, he has the purple loincloth. They've got some good wash over the black to make it look a little damaged, a little aged. And then down to the legs, knees, feet, all pretty standard He-Man buck with some purple and black wraps around the foot. So that's a nice little additional piece of detail that they didn't have to do. Now, of course, if we were to take off this armor piece, which I'm going to attempt to do right now, probably unsuccessfully, because, you know, things are much harder to do on camera than to do off camera. This should just pop right off, but man, it is snug. This piece is a lot more sturdier than like some of the Origins figures I've reviewed. It's a little tougher plastic, not by much, but you know, just don't want to break anything on my new figure. You understand how that goes. And if I can just pull that one out, we'll be in business. So there we go. So we can take this armor off. We just pop the head off as well. And of course, we have the whatever you want to call it, the cassette tape or whatever, that original design, and it's actually detailed into the sculpt. It's no longer a sticker, and that is just super cool. Of course, they've painted it, so you have all that feature. Go ahead and pop his head back on real quick. Of course, that head's snug right back on there. And then the other thing I noticed as I was taking that armor off, maybe you did too, is they have additional detail back here. Mattel just doing a great job on this figure. I mean, you didn't have to include that, and they did, and that's pretty awesome. So, of course, that's the big part of this figure. Put him back down for a moment. Get our focus back in place. Sorry about that, folks. This software I use does not always want to focus, so I switch between it and just the generic iPhone. So I'm going to push him back a little bit more so I have room to show you the accessories. So, of course, he comes with additional hands. He has the the open hand, as I'm trying to get the focus on that. Man, come on. Yeah, this does not know how to focus, and it's very annoying that it doesn't focus on for me. Because I tap it, and then finally it does. There. So we have the open hand. Some people were saying it was a new one. I'm not convinced it's a new one, and I have my other He-Man accessories put away, so I can't really just quickly go grab them. But maybe it's different. But to me, and then you also get the standard fist. To me, they look the same, which I wouldn't expect anything new. Then you also get the very cool battle axe that has, like, I don't know what the orange is necessarily trying to show us, but I like that behind it we just have that straight up metal, and how they've made it look like the orange paint or whatever is just slowly coming off from usage. Or maybe it broke. Maybe that's what they're trying to signify, is that it broke and he had to weld a new piece onto it, because it actually does set on top of the original. Like this one's all beat up, and then he just started putting additional pieces into it. But very cool, very cool. And then finally, the power sword, which I love that it has this classic handle, but that it's also like multiple pieces of metal, like the perfect combination of science and sorcery, just the way it looks. It's like a multiple pieces of sword just put together, and you can see these rivets, and that it was purple, perfectly a perfect purple at one point, and then it's just slowly with battle usage wearing down. Very cool. So that's the accessories. We'll focus back on Faker here now, and I'll get him put back together, and then we'll do some quick comparisons. Okay, so I decided to put the open hand on Faker, as well as giving him the battle axe as his primary weapon, and putting the sword in the sheath, just so you could see kind of how it looks. And it's a very, very good figure. I mean, it looks, proportionate wise, it looks very good. And just to do some quick comparisons, let's talk about that First, let's do a classic comparison against. Sorry, that's probably the bad word. So let's do a comparison against what we know is Faker from the Origins line, and you can clearly see the difference night and day. Where they decided to go with the purple Skeletor armor versus the orange armor, orange power sword, purple power sword, etc., etc. But there's a comparison of those two figures, so you get an idea of just how much larger the MasterVerse figures are. Thank you. And then next, let's compare the previous version of the MasterVerse Faker with this version of Faker. Of course, this is the one from the Revelation animated series. And I mean, there's just no comparison. Now, granted, it is supposed to look a little more cartoonish and represent what we saw on that show. But very, very different styles. I mean, the head on this one looks so small compared to this one and almost out of scale. But you can see the lower body is exactly the same. And yeah, so of course the power swords are vastly different. And then finally, I figured I would show you what the current new Eternia He-Man looks like compared to new Eternia Faker. And again, as you can see, this Faker makes that new Eternia He-Man look very dull by comparison. I mean, I like that he's got the power sword that looks kind of like the classic power sword, but this one's so much different, yet so much the same as something we had in the 80s. But I mean, you would not confuse outside of the obvious blue color, you would not confuse Faker for He-Man. Their faces do not look anything alike. So I would imagine we were probably going to get this head again on a style to He-Man, very similar probably with, heck, you could probably use everything here and just throw a new head on it from the Faker, recolored. And yeah, you'd have a wonderful new He-Man. But yeah, so there's a comparison for the new Eternia He-Man and the new Eternia Faker. And yeah, so I think overall, Mattel has knocked this out of the park. This is a wonderful looking figure. What do you guys think? Drop me a comment below. Have you picked up this figure? Were you on the fence about it and this video changed your mind one way or the other? Let me know in the comments below. If you've made it this far, as always, I appreciate you hanging out with me today. I love doing these reviews. If you could hit that like button, I would really appreciate it. It helps the channel out tremendously. And make sure you subscribe. Hit that bell notification, select all notifications. I put out 2 or 3 videos a week, including a weekend video, Coffee and Toys, where I talk about toy news, things I found in store, things I've purchased, and really just anything that's on my mind or that's on your mind. I am happy to dive into any questions that you guys might have that you want to answer or want to ask, and I can try to answer. I don't claim to know everything, but I know a few things. With that said, we're on the march to 500 subscribers, so make sure, again, hit that bell notification, because once we hit 500 subscribers, I'm giving away prizes. I'm doing a live stream. If you're a subscriber, you will automatically be entered into a chance to win one of 5 prizes. We're going to do Marvel Legends, we're going to do Star Wars, we're going to do Masters of the Universe, G.I. Joe. I'm going to throw everything I can out there for giveaways for the stuff I primarily review. But yeah, otherwise, thank you for hanging out with me today, and I will see you later.